Good morning to you, our viewers in St. Lucia and St. Lucians in the diaspora. Pleasant good morning to you, those of you watching on air and online. We are coming back into the Parliament building this morning, today, Thursday, and we will be continuing the sitting of the House of Assembly following the Standing Finance Committee meeting and the opening of the 5th session of the 11th Parliament. Just to go over the motion for you as we continue with the lower house budget debate, be it resolved that the House of Assembly do adopt the report of the Standing Finance Committee on the estimates of expenditure for the financial year 2020-2021 in the sum of $1,697,312,800 as a charge against the Consolidated Fund and other funds of the state of St. Lucia. My name is Jessie Leonce, and I'm joined in by my colleague Carlton Cyril. In this morning, we'll be bringing you, as usual, under the COVID-19 response report from downtown Castries. We will be bringing you updates with regard to St. Lucia's reaction and management to COVID-19. We got some very important information that the IMF has awarded funding in the sum of $30 million to St. Lucia. That was confirmed by the Honorable Prime Minister during his address in delivering the estimates of expenditure yesterday, and we will be providing you with more information on that. These monies being received from the International Monetary Fund shortly as we get more information from the relevant officials. Unfortunately, we also received information as to the increased cases of COVID-19, the diagnosis in St. Lucia. 2 new cases on island. We will be hearing from the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belmar-George, shortly. But in the meantime, Carlton?
Yes, Jessie, definitely. Bonjour. Merci pour vous qui écoutez NTN, qui avez nous sur télévision. Nous ne pouvons pas oublier ces gens qui sont l'autre pays. Vous qui attendez voir nous sur radio, nous avons dit bonjour à vous et merci. Comme vous savez, aujourd'hui, jeudi, le 30 avril, nous avons continué à mener le rapport du Parlement. Et puis, moi, c'est Jessie Leonce. Et puis, moi, c'est Carlton Cyril. Puis, je connais comme Cooks. Eh bien, vous qui suivez nous ça depuis mardi, bagay a commencé ici, et puis, budget tout fait quoi présenté. Nous allons continuer ici aujourd'hui à avoir information, développement, qu'on y a pris place. Qu'on peut-être déjà savent pour vous qui suivent nous aussi, les venus pour headquarters COVID-19, c'est ici à nous avoir information encore à rapport. Nous allons commencer développement, pièce information nous pour aujourd'hui. Qu'on a bien savait comment nous ces ministres ici en Parlement et puis il y a une discussion à ce budget qui le Premier ministre a présenté et là où il savent budget nous a présenté pour presque 1,7 billion dollars à peu près 1,7 billion dollars. Et quand la coutume, on va étendre tout le monde qui a mis des sous, tout le monde qui n'est pas en discussion, les venus pour ça. Nous avons un détail en ça, parmi les développements qui a fait et qui déjà fait, vous savez, nous avons des cas corona, nous avons des gens qui testent positif pour corona, ça a mené pour totalement 17 personnes. 15 nous pour dire que nous avons dit ça ainsi maintenant 15 ans ces gens ça yo ha recouvert yo ha kayo mais à présent nous avons des cas 9 nous allons en détail en petit à puis ça et encore il y a des cas moutier les vini pour combattre Covid nous poko fini nous poko bagay poko vie normal parce que vous ka bien ouais 15 moun na havie kayo according to information nous avons les venus pour des cas ça c'est moun qui vini en contacté et puis moun qui te a testé positif quand ou besoin savent les venus pour prendre précaution avec suivre gîte qui bail protocole ou ni pour faire ça parce que nous poko gain goumen en compte virus vermins COVID-19 mais Rodia qu'on nous dit débat qui a continué nous avons information, nous développement, Jesse, comme ça qu'a fait nous avons public là. Toujours un plaisir pour nous et puis nous, et qu'on nous toujours qu'a dit pour information ou si poser ça pour développement, expressement là pour faire le gouvernement et puis Covid, ou était en écoute et puis nous. Bonjour Yon, bonjour tout.
Thank you for that. As you rightly mentioned, the two new cases that we have diagnosed of COVID-19 in St. Lucia were due to the feverish efforts of the Ministry of Health officials in contact tracing. And as the Prime Minister stated yesterday, the last 6 cases that we've had due to COVID-19 have been came about as a result of the contact tracing efforts of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Yes, Jesse, and it's so important that you could mention the contact tracing because we refer to it all the time, and sometimes I'm asking myself whether or not we understand what it is when we say contact tracing. And of course it refers to persons who may have been in the vicinity of someone who was tested positive.
Or interacted
you
with.
know, and then the challenge now, you see the importance of our zones. You understand, because the challenge now becomes getting into contact with those persons and tracing the paths.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people you come in contact with, you interact with. If you deal with vendors, you deal with shopkeepers, in terms of business, commerce, the banks, and so on. So that is why the physical distancing protocols are also important, as well as the use of the masks. All of the protocols that have been outlined by the authorities to ensure that we can manage and contain COVID-19 as best as possible, they're very important because we're seeing that the last 6 cases have been due to contact tracing.
Yes, and just without cutting you short, we have to recognize the fact that there are persons who do not show any signs. They are carriers, healthy carriers, right?
Asymptomatic.
And, right, and those persons, Jesse, if you have to take into consideration in a span of 1 week, 7 days, you know, you might as well, without our zones, for example, one could have very well done around the island. Someone who probably loves bar hopping, someone who has relatives or something.
Especially as we're in a state of emergency, people have time on their hands. So, you know, as you say, the zoning is very important. The whole thrust is toward limiting the mobility of people.
Yes.
So limit the number of people you come into contact with on a daily basis.
Exactly. So, and then you understand the reasoning behind the zoning and, of course, contact tracing. So
the curfew as well.
Even the curfew. And taking into consideration that this pandemic, I mean, is not new to St. Lucia, and we are in the protocols, we are in the curfew, but exactly why? Then we realize the situation, because we have been, you know, we have been echoing it, that, you know, St. Lucia have been lucky. 15 cases recovery, 100% recovery rate, and then what?
2 cases.
2 cases. So, which means this is by no means over yet. Now, we are considering opening stage 3, a gradual after the stabilization.
Phased reopening and
we
our
are
recovery.
looking at reopening our boundaries, you know, opening the borders, you know, and then it presents the case. I mean, we are able to curtail it so far, but what happens if somebody slips through the crack?
Yeah, globally there are concerns that perhaps certain countries and states within the U.S. may be opening their borders too soon, maybe resuming business as usual too soon. So there are some concerns. It is valid, but I am certain that, you know, the authorities, having considered the advisories of the World Health Organization, as well as taking into consideration all other things in terms of the unique picture of each country, of each territory, before opening the country to that extent. So definitely there would be a stringent review of that.
And of course, we have to say now, Jesse, in the event, and while all of this is happening, the government finds itself in a situation where the budget now has to be presented. The business of the country still has to go ahead. So now we have to balance, you know, between the two. Exactly, you know, it's really a balancing act. Taking care of COVID, and of course, making sure that our everyday business as usual takes place.
Absolutely.
And of course, you understand when we are saying, I mean, close to 75 years, we haven't seen a pandemic on that scale. You know, it is something we continue saying that is fluid. You know, it keeps changing every day, something new. You know, every day is a challenge. You know, the reopening, how do you reopen, and the protocol. So, I mean, it is what it is right now, and like we keep hearing all the time, it might just become the new normal.
Yes,
the
definitely.
mask, the distancing, the washing of the hands, sanitizing, all of that now comes into perspective. But I am happy now, Jesse, at least we could see the reasoning behind the zoning, and of course, for persons to understand this is not over yet. It is not business as usual.
Yes.
We still have to practice the social distancing, the 6 feet apart. People still have to remember, stay home, which is one of the, protocols that I feel people are breaking most of the time. Everybody wants to be out. I understand. But do we understand someone who is, sick, someone who shows the vital signs and you could get infected?
Absolutely. I mean, staying home as much as possible is, fundamental in this whole state of emergency situation. If you have no business to go out, if you are not required to work, your company is not part of the list of essential services, then we hope that you do stay home as much as possible.
Definitely.
Some people are perhaps curious, and all of that is understandable, because sometimes you stay cooped up in the house for a few days, and we're not that type of people. We're outgoing, we have wonderful weather in this part of the world, nothing really hindering us except COVID-19 from going out as freely as possible. So hopefully you do keep in mind all of the protocols that are put in place by the government of St. Lucia to ensure your safety, to ensure that St. Lucia can bounce back from this as soon as possible. And what is really important is ensuring that we have a safe population free from COVID-19 as best as possible. The 2 new cases are as a result of contact tracing, and we will hear from the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belmar, shortly on the way in which those 2 contacts were discovered and how they were isolated, how long they were isolated for, and the diagnosis thereafter. She will also be giving us an update on testing, the testing efforts within the Ministry of Health and Wellness in the various communities. You would have heard that there were mass testing and so on. She will be giving an update on that as well. You are watching NTN live we're live from the Parliament building in downtown Castries. We continue with the proceedings of the House of Assembly. If you're just joining us, a special good morning to you. When we come back, we hear from the Chief Medical Officer. We're due for a break now.
Coronavirus? I am worried, Gassa. It's only old people dying from that.
Hold up. Being young does not mean being safe. Yes, it's true that the elderly are at higher risk, but anyone can get the virus. The effect is even worse if you have a chronic condition like hypertension, heart disease, lung disease, and diabetes, or weakness in your immune system. If you are living with these conditions, be extra careful. Wash your hands with soap and water. Use hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol when hand washing is not possible. Avoid touching your face. Take steps to boost your immunity through proper nutrition, exercise, rest, and take your medication as prescribed. Limit being around people who have flu symptoms, even close family members.
Our health is in our hands. Together, through simple actions, we can stop the spread of coronavirus. This message was brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Welcome back. The sitting of the House of Assembly continues today, Thursday, 30th April 2020. The debate on the estimates of expenditure 2020-21 will continue this morning, scheduled to start at 9 a.m. We do look forward to that. We invite you to stay tuned to NTN Live on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel, and also join any one of our media partners on island. Certainly they are all on board in terms of streaming the parliamentary proceedings as it goes into as the debate continues into this next week. This morning we just reporting on the 2 new cases that have been reported by the Ministry of Health and Wellness of COVID-19 in St. Lucia, bringing our total number of cases on island to 17. We do continue to admonish the general public to practice the physical distancing protocols as well as other measures to ensure your safety and the safety of your family at this time of a global pandemic. Also, we received word, confirmation from the Honorable Prime Minister Alan Chasney that the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, has given St. Lucia $30 million to deal with our COVID-19 response. So hopefully we can get some more information from the officials on the extent of this sum and what it will be used for in short order. I now go to the Chief Medical Officer this morning, Dr. Sharon Belmar-George, and quite grave information of 2 new cases here in St. Lucia. However, the silver lining in that the response of St. Lucia, the management of our officials, the authorities in containing COVID-19 has been showing in the recent cases, the last 2 cases. And I'll go to a clip from Dr. Sharon Belmar-George making the announcement.
Dr. Sharon Belmar-George, Chief Medical Officer, Ministry of Health and Wellness. As of April 28, 2020, the World Health Organization reported a total of 2,954,222 confirmed cases of COVID-19 globally, with 202,597 deaths. There are now 1,179,607 confirmed cases in the region of the Americas. On Tuesday, April 28, 2020, results of 44 samples for persons tested for COVID-19 were received. Of that batch, we received 2 positive results and 42 negative. The first of the 2 positive results is a 54-year-old female diabetic who's a direct contact from a previous positive case and has been in isolation from April 4, 2020. She is clinically doing well. The second case is a 20-year-old male who is the son of a previous confirmed case who has also been in isolation from April 4, 2020 and is doing well. It must be noted that both of the new cases are contacts of a confirmed case and have been monitored in quarantine and isolation at the Rodney Bay Public Health Facility from the 4th of April 2020. St. Lucia has now recorded a total of 17 confirmed cases of COVID-19, 15 of whom have recovered and been discharged from care. A total of 490 tests have been carried out to date. We are still implementing our national response to the COVID-19 epidemic, and as such, we should collectively remain focused and committed to reducing the spread of this virus. Some individual measures that need to be sustained include the hygiene measures such as hand washing and respiratory etiquette, the use of homemade face masks, remaining home and away from public places when sick, and to also ensure personal hygiene and to keep homes and office spaces clean. The population most at risk would require special considerations to keep them safe and healthy. This includes ensuring control of chronic conditions, staying at home as much as possible, and facilitating the services to them as needed. The Ministry of Health will continue to remain vigilant and maintain the capacity for early detection, aggressive contact tracing, quarantine and isolation, testing and treatment capacity. We will continue to keep you informed in a timely manner. We have expanded the testing protocols to cover persons with respiratory symptoms within the communities, which will continue into the weekend. The Ministry of Health, we continue active surveillance for COVID-19, but in the interim, we asked all to remain guarded. If you are experiencing flu-like symptoms, go to the nearest respiratory clinic or call one of our telemedicine physicians for guidance. If there is a need for any general information on COVID-19, you may call our 311 information hotline from 7 a.m. to 12 midnight daily. All these telephone services are free to the public. Also, treatment, care, and testing for COVID-19 is free of charge to the public. The Department of Health and Wellness, we will continue to provide the public with regular updates on COVID-19.
That's an announcement there, a statement there from the Chief Medical Officer in St. Lucia, Dr. Sharon Belmar-George, and just giving us an update on the 2 new cases that have been confirmed this week in St. Lucia, bringing our total number of confirmed cases to 17. Now, just to give you more information, the 15 other cases have since recovered, and we have been stating that we have been enjoying a 100% recovery rate up until yesterday's announcement of the 2 new cases. Again, we got word from the Chief Medical Officer, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, that we should not become complacent, and here we're seeing a direct, response to that, in that we're getting, confirmation of new cases. So we should not be complacent. We should not be resting on our laurels, confident that, okay, well, all 15 cases have been, recovered. Apparently, there may not be any new cases, since we're not taking in any, since we have no more flights coming into St. Lucia at present, or anybody coming into St. Lucia, except it being quarantined immediately. But there are measures in place to protect us from any imported cases. However, we're still dealing with any
and the
community
testing,
spread of COVID-19 in St. Lucia.
The testing also is still going on.
Absolutely.
As it relates, because as a result of the tests being done out of a batch of 44, those results were confirmed. Like encore, moi je voulais dire bienvenue et si vous suivez nous à sur internet, si vous voir nous à sur radio, ici nous avons servi à besoin de headquarters COVID-19 non caille parlement. Ou quand savent budget qui a continué aujourd'hui, nous supposons commencer à 9h, mais avant ça fait nous avons information avec développement. Comptez peut-être bien temps, un petit moment avant nous venir, là 6 mois, j'avais nous information. Ça il a dit c'est nous avons en l'autre 2 cas Covid. Oui, des gens trouvé qu'on testé et puis pour raison ça ces gens ça résultat est positif. Bon, mais c'est il y a ces bagages là nous déjà discuter là. Là il vient pour nous tenir 15 personnes qui a recouvert et nous tous contents, nous tous a dit oui, 100% nous pas ni personne qui était trouvé qu'on testé positif. Tout le monde a recouvert vieux caillou. Mais à présent en dans batch 44 qui était voué tester, yo prend test en laisser moun ça. Dès ces moun ça nous avons 2 résultats qui viennent positifs. Première, c'est une jeune madame, 54 ans, et madame Zani sick. Et il était venu en contact et puis il y a un monde qui était déjà testé positif. Et deuxième, c'est un jeune homme, 21 années. 20 années. Ouais? Et puis il même aussi trouvé qu'on est en contact et puis il y a un monde qui était né. Encore. 15 c'est moun qui était né, c'est moun ça a trouvé caillou. Te aller caillou yo a recouvert yo te have yo bon et mi qu'on ouvre test là les vie et battre ça deux moun né quoi encore nous ka ouais les vini pour Gide qui ka bay par les autorités les vini pour 6 mois ka ban nous conseil ka di moun responsabilité c'est ça nous toutes les vini pour protocole les vini pour curfew ça c'est raison nous ka implémenter ça. Raison c'est pour wete caillou sous wete caillou vers maintenant pas ça marcher sous wete là il passe à s'immerger et qui a dit encore en public mettez masque là nous avons chaque monde yo prend masque en public raison pour ça c'est pour contrôler et pour empêcher s'immerger laver la main pour prendre distance là et moi d'essayer yon dans ces bagages là monde pas mêler puis là venir pour distance là au cas protocole de wete hod yon a lot quand nouvelle là sorti là nous ka combattre vers maintenant toujours trouver qu'on informer nous poko fini bagay ça yo poko une vaccine pour lui yo poko ni remède pour lui yo poko ni guérison pour lui quand on est pour commencer et continuer traiter tout le monde comme si dit yo ni vers maintenant parce que bagay ça poko nous pouvons finir combattre. Comme j'ai si bien dit, nous pouvons même les gens qui entrer soit l'autre pays et nous ouais l'anica toujours. Et ça qui est bien important pour observer, c'est les gens qui sont dans quarantine, ils sont en là et résultat muché comme qui ni quoi, c'est les gens qui ont remède, ils ont traité pour actuellement. Mais commission qui a sorti 6 mois, c'est nous supposer point précaution. Moun ni pour ça vers Covid là, il peut disparaître. Il a toujours nous pas combattre.
Absolutely. If you're just joining us, a pleasant good morning to you. We're getting, as we get the information from the officials, we provide it to you on this morning's COVID-19 response report for today, Thursday, the 30th of April. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've gotten 2 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 in St. Lucia, and as Carlton was speaking on in Creole, the cases, the 2 positive results, a 54-year-old female, a diabetic, who is a direct contact from a previous positive case and has been in isolation from April 4th,
Which
2020.
is very important.
That too, she's clinically doing well, and that's the word we're getting from the CMO.
Right.
The second case is a 20-year-old male, a son of a previous confirmed case, who has been in isolation from April 4th and is also doing well.
And a very young person, right, Jesse?
Yes, so we're seeing by contrast a 54-year-old, a
Yes.
diabetic, at-risk individual, as well as a 20-year-old,
Yes.
a strapping, healthy young lad, also
Dispelling
getting
the myth, Jesse, as it comes to, jeune moun pa ka hen ni,
COVID.
sou jeune sa pa ka fon wanyen. And look, the figures would show, I mean, with the 2 cases, look at the difference, almost like 30 years the difference in between the 2. A young guy, 20 years, and this lady, 54. Again, speaking of the vulnerable persons among us, we look at a 54-year-old diabetic.
People with chronic illnesses are at risk,
So, but the good thing which comes out of that is clinically they are doing well.
Absolutely.
Which means they're not on the respirator, and maybe it's just a case of the medication and taking care and monitoring
Absolutely,
them.
and we are holding out that we can soon be able to boast a 100% recovery rate in St. Lucia in short order.
Right.
Absolutely. That word there coming from the CMO, the Chief Medical Officer, yesterday of the 2 new confirmed cases on island. We remind you to exercise all of the protocols, the physical distancing protocols. It is important. It is important as we continue to contain COVID-19. Efforts are underway. The officials are doing their part, and now it's up to the population, civilians, to do their part as well to ensure that we bring down, reduce any chance of a spread within the community. We can contain COVID-19 in a short order. If you're just joining us, we are live from the Parliament building in downtown Castries this morning, and we are here for the continued proceedings of the House of Assembly. This morning, it's day 2 of the sitting of House of Assembly, where the debate on the estimates of expenditure 2020-2021 is continuing. A report of the meeting of the Standing Finance Committee was presented, I believe, yesterday.
Yes.
We have the following motion down for consideration continuing into today. The debate, be it resolved that the House of Assembly do adopt the report of the Standing Finance Committee on the estimates of expenditure for the financial year 2020-2021 in the sum of $1,697,312,800 as a charge against the consolidated fund and other funds of the state of St. Lucia. Just backtracking on the timeline of the week, we had the House of Assembly and the Senate meeting and adjourning for a joint sitting of the throne speech, and that was on Tuesday?
Yes, it was.
Yes, that was on Tuesday. We had the opening of the 5th session of the 11th Parliament meeting, and we could see already with the debates ongoing the outlining of all of the announcements, the pronouncements made by the Governor General with regard to his throne speech and the promises that have been made, the assurances that have been made in terms of the government implementing legislation to address certain issues in St. Lucia. We looked at crime and national security, look at healthcare, agriculture, the resuscitation of the banana industry. All of these efforts are underway. We will be seeing legislation and policies being put in place to bolster the government's offering. In Parliament this morning, we continue to let you know that this sitting is closed to the public. There will be no persons invited or allowed into the gallery chamber. Also, we saw with the throne speech, it was delivered via live feed. The Governor General was not in-house, and there was no inspection of the guard. Also in keeping with the protocols established to protect us from COVID-19 amidst this time. We are due for a break. When we come back, we deliver you more updates. Do stay tuned.
Coronavirus? But children are safe, no?
Hold up. Children are actually more likely to touch all kinds of surfaces, put their hands on their mouths and their eyes, or sneeze and cough with little thought about hygiene when around others. While children have been seen to recover well from this virus, they can easily spread it to those more at risk, like the elderly or ill persons who have a weaker immune system. Teach the little ones in your care to be little powerhouses of infection prevention. Keep reminding them, wash your hands. Cover your mouth with tissue or your inner elbow when you sneeze and cough. And be sure to praise them when you see them taking these precautions.
Our health is in our hands. Together, through simple actions, we can stop the spread of coronavirus. This message was brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Welcome back to the program this morning, COVID-19 response report with me, Jessie Léonce and Carlton Cyril.
Merci tellement, Jessie. Nous ici en Parlement, deuxième jour budget, qu'on bien savent. Avant nous commencer le budget, là, nous avons information développement. Hier, un chai fait ici en Kaila, où qui était coupé, moi un chai information sorti, un chai information pour qui manière gouvernement qui dépenser l'argent pays pour l'autre l'année 2020-2021 et que nous ni opposition et puis même gouvernement qui a fait argument et puis il y a une discussion enfin débat en les budget en parmi bagages qui bien sort dehors Jesse au cas changer les vini pour l'argent qui gouvernement j'ai dit il a dépensé à peu près 1,7 billion dollars et puis les vini pour l'argent ça il a passé en consolidated fund avec l'autre fonds parler de l'autre fonds nous avons un annoncement fait hier les vini pour 30 millions dollars qui a sorti hors IMF et puis ça a trouvé quoi approuvé et qui parmi l'autre bagaille il a servi l'argent ça pour assister pour recouvrir les vini pour pandémie COVID-19 en chaque discussion faite nous avons les vini pour sécurité et pour mener ces caméras en ces différentes communautés à part en Castries tout seul et puis Olivan Castries mais mener par l'autre côté et l'autre commune nous avons les vini pour moderniser et gouvernement et puis manière bagaille qu'a fait et puis gouvernement 8 ministries supposé venir ensemble et puis nous avons à peu près 154 différents pas de ces ministries ça vient ensemble quoi ça y a dit à les venir pour ou faire papier en chaque c'est bagaille ça ou ça fait par computer ou ça aller à sur un computer et faire application Batista ou faire ID cadeau et puis c'est ça qui est proposé en parmi l'autre bagaille l'année plus mais quand débat continue aujourd'hui nous kaitan ça qui aller mais qu'on nous bien dit débat budget qui a continué aujourd'hui ensemble avec budget là pas dit nous ka ba information nous ka faire ça développement qui a fait toujours expressement là pour faire et puis Covid.
That's right. Just to go back to the delivery of the Honorable Prime Minister Alan Chasney yesterday in his address and speaking about fiscal deficit and the resource gap, he stated that in order to support the expenditures that he highlighted, his government intends to raise a total of 1.030 billion in domestic revenues. Of this amount, approximately 10.8 million has been earmarked to fund project or capital expenditure under the Department of Housing. And just to go over, domestic revenues will be complemented by grants totaling 106.98 million from the following donors. We have the Republic of China on Taiwan, 38.65 million, a Japanese International Corporation Agency JICA, 20 million, Caribbean Development Bank, a CDB, 10.14 million, UNEP 2.4 million, UKCIF 13.4 million, European Development Fund 5.9 million, and other 6.4 million. Now, based on the forecasted revenues and grants, a financing gap of 559.99 million is projected. Of the amount required, 53.2% is expected to be financed from external loan disbursements from the following sources: the Caribbean Development Bank 52.38 million, World Bank IDA 43.2 million, the International Monetary Fund 72.39 million, and the Republic of China on Taiwan Exim Bank 129.88 million. domestic financing requirements amount to 262.12 million, of which 78.6% is expected to be sourced by various means, including treasury bills, notes, and bonds. And the Prime Minister further stated that while our financing domestically, while our plan indicates a sum of 262.12 million to be sourced domestically, his government has aggressively engaged the ECCB and second debentures in the sum of 54 million, and discussions are also at an advanced stage with the CDB for a policy-based loan. So this is just reading an excerpt of the Prime Minister's budget speech yesterday. Persons are wondering where will certain funds come from, where will our money to deal with this deficit as we continue to have to run a country will come from, and that word there from the Prime Minister in his address.
Definitely, Jesse, and one has to note as it relates to resources and maintaining the capital expenditure, we have to say where those money is coming from. And of course, one thing that hangs over the budget, we will have to admit, is when it comes to COVID-19.
Absolutely.
And like I said earlier on, it's a balancing act. We have to see how does the government intends on presenting a budget in the midst of COVID-19, which is a challenge not only for this government but globally. I mean, the reference was made in a fiscal year like now, we look at 110 million that was collected.
In terms of revenue, starting the financial year on a bad note, unfortunately.
And now, Jesse, just imagining now, you have, I think it's 40 million that was collected now as of today.
A 60% decline for the month.
So it's a typical case. Just imagine, Jesse, you were accustomed of getting $100. And for layman's sake or for argument's sake, now you get 40. And just imagine the 40 is just to pay salaries as the scenario was drawn. You understand? So it paints that picture and it gives us an understanding of the precarious situation that government finds itself in.
Absolutely. We've also received, just to go back to COVID-19, there's this running joke that, by the time the state of emergency is over, some people will be so big from eating poorly that they won't be able to exit the house, the door. You have that press release from the Ministry of Health and Wellness on hand in terms of how we can practice healthy eating while we're at home. People are rushing to the supermarkets to get supplies, emergency supplies, but it's what you're really getting, that will determine how healthy you will be during this state of emergency, and also to build immunity as well. That's another aspect of healthy eating and getting proper nutrients in your body.
Definitely, Jesse, and here, of course, the advice is coming from the Ministry of Health as it relates to eating, and it says that, listen, the processed foods, the fried foods, if you could stay away from it, if you could practice eating, and of course, coincidentally, we see our tag, Jesse, which says "Eat Local," and we did the Honorable Bradley Felix literally leading the charge in that, and saying, now that we are home, the fruits, let's try balancing it off. The food, the local food we have.
There's a bulk of fresh produce that's not going to hotels, that's not being, exported. So.
And let's eat what we grow. Let's go back to the backyard gardening, Jesse. And you will hear when it comes to a topic which comes up when we speak about COVID and being home, the immune system. We need to build up our immune system. And of course, Jesse, I have pour, but vous bien savez, là, il vient pour manger ces feuilles d'achine, ces agrumes, spinach, Jesse. Maman, qui fait avant-hier, on va pas connaître about ça. Mais là, il vient pour faire assis,
parler comme si vous voulez.
Oui, Jesse, je t'ai dit là, je me mets agrumes, feuilles d'achine, oui. Nous ne pouvons manger ces bails. I guess the point is, Jesse, we have the food around us. We have the local, and of course, you would know, even the Ministry of Agriculture would say, let's eat fresh, eat what you grow. It's in our backyard. And the little things, Jesse, the coconut water, the jelly. We have a coconut a day. They say it's an apple a day, but I think it's a coconut a day keeps the doctor away. It definitely. Absolutely. And we have it, Jesse. Let's take into consideration a banana. The potassium that goes, and even the local things I'm saying, we have spinach,
If you're
right?
making your stews, you could just simple as seasoning peppers, adding to, you know, the nutritional value of your food, you know. So
Our bouillon, Jesse, we take for granted, and you know, persons always want to have, I mean, not hitting on anybody, a chicken and fries, or ramen and this. We have, Jesse, nous ni poisson, nous ni broth là. Nous manger ces bagages là qui fait nous plus fort. Nous manger ces bagages là qui fait nous combattre ces vermines ça. So I think in a nutshell, the advice coming from the Ministry of Health is, while we home, not just go on, you know, you have a packet of conkles, manger chips, you know, just while we could do that, find creative ways of eating and balancing what we eat.
and for our kids as well, they're watching what we eat, you know, so it's important that we lead the charge in being an example for, you know, proper eating habits, you know.
It is, Jesse, and of course, for example, if you try to get your children to eat something healthy, but it would be quicker to see somebody eating some cornflakes.
True.
You understand? Rather than we use the local arrowroot, you know, little toloma. So I think the message coming from Ministry of Health, I mean, it falls on good grounds, good intentions, and Jesse, the way we eat and the tips that were given in terms of eating nutrition, balance, limit the fry and processed foods, you know, maintain a healthy body weight. And as for that one, Jesse, quand nous regardons, chaque monde pas qu'à quitter caillou, chaque monde a mis un chaque pèse, because depuis tout dans caillou là, c'est dans fridge là, acheter un bagage pour manger. Depuis assis boire un bagage, manger un bagage, et pour pas même point pièce exercise.
Yeah.
You understand? So you could see the trend when it's being home, nothing to do. You understand? So the advice coming from Ministry of Health is like, keep a balance between the two. You're home, exercise while you eat. And of course, it's funny nowadays, avoid the alcoholic drinks.
Well, I was coming to that. You know, we have the suspension of the liquor licenses in St. Lucia, and a lot of people are clamoring. We're very social people and we like to indulge.
Right.
But at this point, I believe there was a tip put out on social media by the Ministry of Health and Wellness, letting people know that if you are feeling any anxieties, because, you know, we can have some withdrawal, you know, to alcohol. You have any anxieties, you know, you're frustrated over the COVID-19 situation, you do not know what to do, you know, just there are resources that you can use as a clinical support, you know, that you could give a call to lay out your problems and concerns, you know. We usually use alcohol, you know, to bring down the edge, you know, and to just socialize. But at this point in time, the suspension of the liquor license is very important, and the command center has deemed it important, the operations command center has deemed it important to maintain the suspension of the liquor license as part of efforts to manage COVID-19 overall.
And of course, and if you're listening to us, we are coming live from Parliament building in Castries. We are reporting, of course, not from our headquarters, usual headquarters, our COVID command center at the GIS studios, but we are here for day 2 of the debate. But while we do that, we are informing you and we are giving you the information and development, especially as it pertains to COVID-19. And we are discussing being at home, we are discussing exercising, we are discussing balancing, eating, Jesse. And one of the areas identified here by Ministry of Health is when it relates to exercising and proper rest. So, Jesse, nous avons chaque monde, les midi, minuit, yo la toujours, yo kay dormi, yon heure, 2 heures, et lever, 3 heures, 4 heures, lever.
It's important to keep a routine, even though you're home, even though, you know, the future is largely uncertain. You know, we may get word that, you know, things are back on the up and up and you have to return to work or not. You know, but it is important to keep a routine to move with, you know, the fluidity of things as they go in the country and in the world. You know, a lot of people don't know where to begin when it comes to exercising. Some people, you know, the initial reaction and thought when it comes to exercising is walking. At this point, you know, that is discouraged. And so finding ways to exercise at home. We have the access to the internet, you know, going on YouTube. There are also conventional ways to get blood circulating through your body. Yoga, you know, these different meditation, all of these things can help.
Drinking plenty of water.
Plenty of water, staying hydrated. You know, it's the time for self-love, really. You know, building your immunity against viruses. It's the time for self-love. Ensure that what you take into your body is good, and what you put out, your exercise is also good. Your level of exertion during the course of the day, you know, little exercises, aerobics. Walk around the house.
On the property.
Right.
Jesse, and needless to say, when it comes to going to the supermarket and you're shopping, the advice coming from Ministry of Health, try to buy foods that are low in sugar and salt. And of course, when we speak salt, not necessarily your iodine and whatnot, but the sodium. You know, the content thereof. And we know right now the children, they are home. It is very important we get healthy snacks for the children.
Absolutely.
Because Jesse, it again goes back to the fact that we have to pay attention to what.
Definitely. So good advice. Just to note, the Ministry of Education has taken measures to ensure that the feeding program continues, even though school is closed, and there is, well, school isn't closed, but the physical attendance to school has been stopped for this term, but they are, you know, making arrangements to get food to those in need in the community, some food for healthy food for this term, this learning at home term.
Yeah. And of course, it falls on good grounds. Et puis, si vous même calculez ça qu'a fait ici, nous en Parlement, le deuxième jour, elle est venue pour faire discussion sur debate budget qui a continué, qu'on sous PV aider, moi, c'est même Parlement Jacques Marché est venu. Nous avons supposé commencer pour 9h, mais nous avons qui manière ça a marché. En chaque discussion, j'ai parlé, le budget a continué. Et le budget nous pour l'année prochaine, à peu près 1,7 billion dollars ce budget là. Et puis au cas ça le premier ministre n'a fait qu'il a venu pour qui manière l'argent ça qu'il dépensé et côté l'autre l'argent qu'il entré qu'il sorti parce que à présent nous ni vermin COVID-19 qu'on a pas dit ça fait pays à présent nous ni pour dire l'année Covid quand chaque bagage niveau prend en considération. Moi ici et puis Jesse avec nous a discuté information qui sorti hors ministre de santé. Yo a dit pas dit temps la caillou, pas unique manger n'importe bagage. Conseil lancé balancer ça au café. Veillez qui ça ou manger en nous manger ces bagages là nous-mêmes qu'a récolté ici. C'est argument, c'est feuille d'achine, nous a dit nous ni figue, nous ni poisson, on mange ces bagages ça. On nous pas trouvé qu'on nous manger ces bagages l'huile là, ces bagages fouilla la information qu'a dit point exercice, information qu'a dit poser pli, boire en chai glo, wete hod wom nan alcool là, wete hod li. Quand toutes ces informations ça qu'a sorti hod ministre santé qu'a dit pas dit ton kay là et pas nan rien qu'a fait ou pas là. Acheter manière marché au li won kay là. Acheter manière pour faire un bel bouillon en feuille d'achine qui a dit parce que vous pas trouver corps dans situation là où pas pour vier sortir va ça même marché encore l'autre gide là qui va conseil c'est acheter manger qui pas ni en chai sick excel ou supposé trouver corps dans position qu'à manger en bonne santé Jesse avec moi ça c'est une bonne manière pour nous balancer corps nous et faire assurer ça fait corps plus fort là venir pour défense vermine et puis différentes maladies qui dort là.
Definitely. We are now on standby. We have a few representatives in the House of Assembly. They have come in and for the scheduled start of the House of Assembly, the continued debate on the estimates of expenditure 2020-2021. You can see the leader of the parliamentary opposition, Honorable Philip J. Pierre, representative for Castries East. We also have Dr. Gail Rigobert, the Minister for Education, as well as the Honorable Bradley Felix, the Honorable Moses Baptiste, as well as the Honorable Edmund Estefan in Parliament at this point. So we are on standby, just waiting for the rest of the parliamentarians within the House of Assembly, the representatives, to come in. Be it resolved, this is the motion down for consideration. Be it resolved that the House of Assembly do adopt the report of the Standing Finance Committee on the estimates of expenditure for the financial year 2020-2021 in the sum of $1,697,312,800 as a charge against the Consolidated Fund and the other funds of the state of St. Lucia. We do hope that you will stay tuned for the continued debate in the House of Parliament today. In the meantime, we're signing off for now. We will return as the parliamentary proceedings commence. Do stay tuned.
In December 2019, there was a cluster of pneumonia cases